Welcome back. Technically an NHL jersey, but defunct team. All right, so we had 4 games tonight in the National Hockey League. A lot of goals, so we have some stuff to discuss. We're going to go ahead and start things off with Buffalo and Pittsburgh. So it was Luukkonen versus Jari. And it's 43 seconds in where Thompson scores from Tuck. A good forecheck leads to this goal. It's buried from behind the net, and it is the first shot for Buffalo in the game. Sabres look for another. Penguins press. Carlson has a shot that's saved, and then on a net drive, Greenway scores for Buffalo. Zucker with the assist at 3:08. That's only the second shot on net for Buffalo in the game thus far. The next time that Jari touches the puck, there's a Bronx cheer. I don't like that for the home goalie. I don't. I understand Penguins fans are upset with the way Jari's play has been over the last. It's been a while, but still, I'm not a big fan of the Bronx cheer for the home goalie. Visiting goalie, absolutely let the chaos reign, but there I'm not a huge fan of it. So, Sabres press at 5 minutes, and I feel that same way about the goaltender on the team I'm rooting for. So, shots are 4-2 Buffalo at 7 minutes. There's good back checking by the Sabres. We get a power play for the Penguins. Early clear, pretty aggressive penalty kill until Brian Rust scores from Crosby and Malkin at 11:01. That's buried and close. That is Crosby's 1600th point. So Crosby, pretty major milestone there. The Penguins look to tie it, but at 11:33 on a 2-on-1, Peterka buries one, and Byram with the assist there, and that ends the night for Jari. We do see Bloomquist go in the net. So I don't know what's going to happen from here with Penguins goaltending. Bloomquist has outplayed Jari, so when Nedeljkovic is healthy, would they consider waving Jari? I know how crazy that sounds. Things get pushed in a hole by Bloomquist. The Sabres press with 6 minutes left. Cousins fires one wide on a rush. More strong forechecking by the Sabres, who I thought had generally a good game through large stretches tonight. Malkin to Russ gets blocked. The Penguins press with 2 minutes left, but after the first period, it is 3-1 for Buffalo. Second period, the teams trade turnovers. Graves fires one wide on a rush. Sabres press at 3 minutes. The shots are 4-1 Buffalo 5 minutes into the game. Or 5 minutes into the second period, I should say. Peterka's then denied on a turnover. Benson has a breakaway chance that's held. Peterka's robbed again, also on a breakaway. So Bloomquist really is trial by fire. So if the argument's going to be one of, well, Jari faced tough shots, Bloomquist did too, and he was excellent. Sabres draw a power play during that Peterka play there, but it becomes a minute and 11 seconds of 4-on-4. Then it just turns crazy. We get 53 seconds of 4-on-3 for the Sabres. The Penguins then score a shorthanded goal, and Buffalo challenges for the offside, but it counts. So it's O'Connor shorthanded from Acciari at 9 minutes and 12 seconds, and that means that because it was an unsuccessful challenge, it now becomes 3-on-3. Just bonkers. Tuck has a rush chance that's kicked aside. Everything gets killed off. Felt like every 5 seconds another player was jumping on the ice. Acciari is a net drive. That's defended. The fans call one. The referee does not. Sabres press with 6.5 minutes left. And at 15:20, Puljujarvi with a backhand goes upstairs on a rush. Eller with the assist on that one. So the Penguins have tied the game. Penguins then press for the lead. Bunting with a slot shot. That's held. It's all Penguins at this point. Buffalo just holding on. Penguins draw a power play with 2:07 left. There's a shorthanded 2-on-1 for Lafferty where he fires wide, but Buffalo does kill that off. So it's 3-3 after 2. We go to the third period. Question of whether or not the Penguins scored early. It's reviewed, and it is decided nope. Penguins end up getting a power play not long after. The fans call for a 5-on-3. During that power play, they felt there was a penalty for Buffalo. The referee does not see it, doesn't agree. Bunting's robbed late in the power play, and then on a rebound just after it ends, Evgeny Malkin gets goal number 500 in his career. Crosby with point number 1601 at 3:26. So there you go. The Malkin video should be up tomorrow. The Penguins have got themselves their first lead of the game. Then there's a near miss for Crosby and close. The fans call one. The referee does not. Shots are 7-2 Penguins at 7.5 minutes. Malkin's denied as the Penguins press. He's looking for goal 501. Acciari has a shot that's blocked. It's all Penguins. Dahlin is then robbed on a turnover, and then at 10:16, Peterka roofs one on a net drive to tie it. Jokiharju with the assist. And then 40 seconds later, it is McLeod past a screen during the press. Byram and Zucker with the assists. So all of a sudden, Buffalo has the lead back at 5-4. Did I believe that this game was done and Buffalo would hold on? It is Buffalo, so the answer is no. Penguins press to respond. The Sabres press with 4.5 minutes left. We get the goalie pull with 1:45 left. Rust fires one wide, and then Raquel does not. He scores on the backhand at 19-14, ties the game at 5. We are going to overtime. We officially have an 80s game on our hands. Penguins control early. UPL poke checks Crosby. It was a nice play, but the Penguins would get a power play, and they score on it. It is Crosby with point number 1602 from Malkin and Carlson at 1:38. The Penguins win this one 6-5 in overtime. They go to 3-2 on the season. Buffalo's slow start continues their 1-3-1. Shots on net 13-9 Pittsburgh in the first, 11-10 Pittsburgh in the second, 18-14 Pittsburgh in the third. They had the only shot of overtime. That's all they needed. Final shots 43-23 Pittsburgh. Power plays Buffalo 0 for 1. Pittsburgh 2 for 5. The hits 19-16 for Buffalo. Luukkonen 37 saves on 43 shots. Jari 2 saves on 5 shots. And Blomqvist 26 saves on 28 shots. So what does Pittsburgh do with their goaltending? So we've had goaltending questions around the NHL. We'll see how those are solved, or if they're solved. Sometimes they're not. All right, next up. The other one on this board is the Kings and the Leafs. It was Rittich versus Stolarz. Early press by Toronto. Kopitar fires one high from the slot not long after. Leafs draw themselves a power play. The Kings clear. They clear it again, and eventually it becomes 32 seconds of 4-on-4. The Kings would get some cycle and some pressure when it becomes a 5-on-4 for them. Lorentz blocks and clears. The Leafs rag the puck a bit to finish the kill. And then at 6:56, they open the scoring. McMahon buries one from the slot on a nice pass. The assists to McCabe and Domi on that goal. The shots are 7-0 for the Leafs at 8 minutes. And at 8:49, Austin Matthews finally gets his first goal of the season. He buries a rebound. Marner and Ekman-Larsson with the assists. Kings press for a response. Nyes is then denied from the slot before it's 17-12. So late in the period, Bobby McMahon with his second goal of the first period. Nylander and Ekman-Larsson with the assists. So OEL with a couple of helpers. And that one was on a fast break for McMahon. So goal scorer's goal there. Kings press to close it out, but it's 3-0 for Toronto after the first period. Second period, Laferriere has a rush chance that's held. Things are pushy on a hold by Stolarz. Shots are 6-0 Kings at 3.5 minutes. So whatever the Kings coach told the team in between the first and second period seemed to have worked. Anderson has a screenshot that's held. The emotions are rising. The hitting's picking up at this point. Nylander couldn't bury one on a steal opportunity. And then during the press that followed, Riley would score at 7:56 from McCabe and Domi. So they combine on the assists again. For Morgan Riley, that's his first goal of the season. Then there's a delay of game call, so the Leafs go to the power play. They cycle, it's cleared. That ends up being killed by the Kings with no shots allowed. So very good penalty kill there by the LA Kings. The Kings then get a power play. Copley, to start the power play, takes over in net from Rittich. Rittich had a rough night, and so Copley goes in. Early cleared again. Power play's killed off. One shot on net on that power play. So that one's killed off by the Leafs. Then the Leafs get a power play with 2:38 left, so it's a bit of a parade to the penalty box at this point. There's an early clear, the Leafs cycle, and then they score. It is Nylander going top shelf from the right circle. Matthews and Marner with the assists at 18:31. It is 5-0 Toronto after 2 periods of play. However, relatively early in the third period, the Kings make things interesting. Turcotte goes glove side from the slot. Lee with the assist at 2:42, so that makes it 5-1. Kings then draw a power play not long after. There's an early clear and another. Fiala has a shot that's tipped wide. Another clear out. The power play's killed off. The Leafs only allow one shot for the Kings on that power play. The Kings do press after it's done. In fact, the shots are 6-1 LA at 7 minutes. Anderson has a net drive that saved. And then at 9:03, Fiala scores from Clark and Lewis. So Brandt Clark continues his solid run early in the season. And I think taking advantage of the fact that Doughty's out and getting that extra ice time that he wouldn't get if he was there. After the Fiala goal there, the Leafs decide to call a timeout. I'm not going to argue they shouldn't. But the Kings, they keep up the momentum. They press for another. We get a power play for LA. There's an early clear. Byfield has a net feed that's picked off. Power play's killed off, and there's no shots. And it felt like that really knocked the momentum out of the LA Kings at that point in the game. Nylander has a rush chance. That's held with 4:02 left. The Leafs go to the power play, and they score on it. At 17:16 is Tavares burying one in close. Marner and Matthews with the assists. And your final score in this one, 6-2 for the Toronto Maple Leafs. They go to 3-1 with the win. The Kings 1-1-2 with the loss. Shots on net, 12-9 Toronto in the first, 14-7 LA in the second, 11-7 LA in the third. They do outshoot Toronto 34-26. Power plays, LA 0 for 4, Toronto 2 for 4. The hits 28-27 for Toronto. Riddick saved 10 out of 14. Copley saved 10 out of 12. Stolarz saved 32 out of 34. He's a pretty good goaltender. Pretty smart signing by the Leafs. That being said, I do need to change boards. All right, so Boston and Colorado. So this was on TNT, and yeah, I might have said some stuff during the game. Do you remember the playoff series between Dallas and Colorado? It was a lot like that. So it was Korpisalo versus Georgiev. If you're a Bruins fan watching this and you watch the TNT feed, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So Woods denied on a fast break. The Bruins then draw a power play. The Avs clear. The Bruins set up. They cycle. Pastrnak has a tip shot that saved. The power play's killed off. The Avs press at 5.5 minutes. I thought Korpisalo looked relatively sharp. There's not a lot of shots on the net. But at this point in the game, I thought he looked sharp. I thought he looked like he was doing well. One thing I noticed in the first game that he played was his puck tracking was off tonight. It looked a little bit better. So the Avs press and Korpisalo sharp. Teams then trade rushes. Carlo blocks a McKinnon shot. The Avs press, Rantanen's denied. The shots are 4-3 for the Bruins with 9.5 minutes left. Things are pushed on hold by Korpisalo. The Bruins press with 7.5 minutes left. At 13:46, Koepke on a wrister from the top of the right circle scores from Peak and Zadorov. So there's Koepke with another goal. Then we get a power play drawn by the Avs, and that power play tonight was lethal. It is Colton on the power play, goes posting in from the slot. Rantanen and Makar with the assists at 15:06, or 15:07, I should say. Bruins look to respond with 3:20 left. The Bruins go back to the power play. They score on this one. It is Coyle from Lowry burying one on the rush at 17:09. Boston's ahead again, 2-1. Then crossbar and out from Makar on the following setup play. Bruins would press in the final minute. They're up 2-1 after the first. Second period. Early jump for the Bruins. Pastrnak has a rush chance. That's kicked aside. The Bruins press at 2.5 minutes. Shots are 3-1 for Boston at 4 minutes. Zaka's robbed on a breakaway. The Avs, problems with fast breaks, breakaways, odd man rushes tonight. And that's something we've talked about over the last little while here, that their slow start in part is because of that kind of play. And they do need to clean that up. So we'll keep an eye on that in the coming weeks. Koepke has a wrister that's held as the Bruins press. The Bruins draw a power play. Pastrnak to Marchand near miss. And then Pastrnak on a nice cross-crease pass. Hampus, Lindholm, and Marchand with the assists at 9:09. Makes it 3-1 Boston. And then at 9:22, Lindholm passed a screen and from a sharp angle. Hampus Lindholm just throws it at the net and it goes in. This is where the Let's Go Bruins chants were a little bit louder and you could clearly hear them on the TV. There are Let's Go Bruins chants in every arena in the NHL, though. Not when the Bruins aren't playing, just when the Bruins are. It'd be weird if you have like a game between the Rangers and Edmonton and Let's Go Bruins chants started. Don't do it. Zadorov versus Steinberg takes place. The Avs come out of that with a power play. There's an early clear. The Avs set up. They cycle, and Makar fires one home from the slot. Rantanen and McKinnon with the assists at 11:15. So that tightens up the game a little bit. The Bruins press with 7.5 minutes left. Then there's a dog pile at the Bees net that prevents a goal, or more precisely, McAvoy ends up preventing a goal there, but the dog pile at the net gets you the whistle. Shots are 11-4 for the Bruins with 4.5 minutes left. The Avs get some pressure with 2 minutes left, but it is 4-2 Boston after 2. Third period. Marchand wasn't on the bench. He got hurt in the second period. He would return to the game, but he got shaken up there. We'll see how he is going to the next game. Power play for the Bruins. Zacha misses. He had a clear net right there, and he just couldn't hit it. Puck's cleared out. They do kill that off. And then the Avs go to the power play, and like I said, it was lethal tonight. Rantanen scores on the power play very early in it. Makar and McKinnon with the assists at 4:52. The biggest advantage Colorado's power play has is that the Avalanche players play on that power play, and they're pretty darn good. And it's kind of a line of all-stars. The Avs then press to tie it. Wood gets shaken up on Elias Lindholm. hit. They initially named it a 5-minute penalty. That was just so they could review it. They reviewed it. There's no head contact. It's not egregious. It's not overly late. So they take the penalty off the boards, which leads to the fans being quite not happy with that call. The shots are 5-2 for Colorado at 9.5 minutes. Middlestad has a net drive that's held. Things get pushy. Zacha has a net drive that's defended. Kovalenko gets shaken up. And then they pull the goalie, and Beecher hits the empty net at 17:59. So Beecher, that's the second goal of the season. Colorado would pull the goalie again. It does not matter. Boston wins in Denver 5-3. Boston goes to 3-2. They're undefeated against anybody who's not Florida. And for Colorado, 0-4 start to the season. This is starting to become kind of ugly. Shots on net favored Boston in the first and second, 10-5 and 11-6. And then Colorado outshoots Boston 13-4 in the third. Final shots, 25-24 for Boston. Power plays, the Bruins 2 for 4. Colorado scored on all 3 of their power plays, meaning they didn't get anything 5-on-5. The hits, 34-33 Boston. Korpisalo, 22 saves on 25 shots. Definitely looked better than he did in the last game. And Georgiev, 20 saves on 24 shots. I don't know which of the 4 goals he allowed he's supposed to be able to save, but again, Georgiev's numbers not fantastic. It's going to be a talking point in the coming days. All right, in the last game for tonight, Utah and Anaheim. So you'll notice that I made a magnet for Utah. I'll go ahead and hold it up here because there's always going to be people on their phone who may not see it. So that is essentially a Yeti magnet. I'm making a handful of them. I'm just the generic Utah ones I don't think are nearly as fun as something that's Yeti. So if they don't name it the Yeti, that's fine. I can make magnets or whatever they do name it, but it's pretty sure it's going to be Yeti. So it's Ingram versus Dostal in this one. There's an early press by Utah. Carlson has a shot that's held as the Ducks press. Fowler's denied on a rebound. And then on a tic-tac-toe play on a rush, Troy Terry scores. Strome and Vetrano with the assists at 4 minutes and 40 seconds. Ducks then draw a power play. They cycle. Puck's cleared out. Utah kills that off. And then McBain has one that deflects in off of him. Sergachev and Valimaki with the assists at 8:54. So Utah ties the game at 1. Shots are 6-4 Anaheim at the half. There's a press by Utah with 9 minutes left. We get a power play for the Utah Hockey Club. That leads to a shorthanded chance for Leeson that's saved. And then on a rebound and close on that power play, Barrett Hayden scores for Utah from Schmaltz and Gunther at 13:25. So the former Coyotes players definitely getting some points and goals here. Utah looks for another, but we get a power play for the Ducks. That's killed off. 1 shot. There's some pushing on the play after the power play comes to an end. We get a press by Utah in the final minute, and things are kind of pushy on a hold by Ingram. It's 2-1 Utah after the first. Second period, we have a full power play for Utah to start the period. Ducks prevent an early setup. There's a late cycle. Dostal ends up holding on to the one dangerous chance there, and that power play is killed off. Shots are 3-1 for Utah at 3.5 minutes. It takes until 8:06 for another goal to happen, and it's Fabry burying one top corner. Zegers and McTavish with the assists. It's a 2-2 tie. Utah presses at the half. Kerfoot has a rush chance that saved. The fans call one. The ref doesn't, so he's told he sucks. Because you got to let him know, otherwise he may have no idea. It might be like, I'm an awesome referee, and then, the ref you suck chance starts, and he starts to have an existential crisis, which is what you want in a referee that's calling a game very closely. So, Ducks press with 7 minutes left. Had to find my place there. Cooley has a net drive that's held. There's some pushing. Ingram has a turnover, but he does recover and makes a save there. There's a near miss for Killorn on a 2-on-1 rush, and then Minchukov puts one underneath the arm of Connor Ingram on a wrist shot. Dumoulin and McTavish with the assists at 16:52. All of a sudden, Anaheim has a 3-2 lead in this one. Carlson nearly adds another with 2:01 left. The Ducks get a power play. That's killed off, so that takes us to the end of the second period. It's very rare that Anaheim had a lead after 2 periods. I believe they said it only happened 16 times over the 82-game schedule last season, and now here they are. It's only game 3, and they've got a lead after the second period. In this one, third period, Schmaltz is denied in an opening rush. The teams trade turnovers. Zellweger has a rush chance that saved. The Ducks draw a power play. That becomes 1 minute and 6 seconds of 5-on-3. McTavish has a shot that's held. Utah kills it off, and then Fabry's denied right after. And then on a 3-on-2 via a bad line change by Anaheim, badly timed anyways, Kesselring scores. He buries it. McBain and Doan with the assists at 5:21, and suddenly we got a 3-3 tie. The goalie pull happens with no, that's for the Bruins game. I had 3 hours sleep last night, so I apologize. The goalie pull here happened with 2:25 left. Many apologies. We'll ignore that. Shots are 5-4 for the Ducks at 7 minutes. Doan kind of had a fight with Gudis. They only gave them 4 minutes. They gave him a double minor for roughing. Go watch it. You tell me. It looked like a fight to me. I'm not sure why it's a double minor for roughing, other than maybe the referee doesn't like Shane Doan and he doesn't want his kid to have a fighting credit. I don't know. Krause has a rush chance that's held. Zegras is robbed on a rush. Lundestrom gets shaken up, so the ref sucks again. And then Utah scores. It is Keller from Schmaltz at 10 minutes and 50 seconds. He buries that one in close on a rush. Suddenly Utah has their lead back. The Ducks press for a response. There's a near miss for Hayden on a turnover. The Ducks press with 6 minutes left. Gunther has a shot that deflects out. Pretty wide open game at this point. And then it's kind of a fluky one at 14:55. And if you're a Ducks fan, you'll take it. It's Mintyukov who gets credited with a goal that basically Ingram loses the puck. It's between his pads, and he's putting his pads together, and his left pad kicks the puck into the net to give the Anaheim Ducks their tying goal. Ducks then press for the lead. Strome nearly gets one. They press again after that. Utah gets some pressure in the final minute, but we're going overtime because it's in Anaheim. It started the latest of all the games, and so it has to go to overtime. That's just the way the hockey gods want it. So in the overtime, Utah controls early. Terry then has a chance that's saved, although it's not credited as a shot. And then Carlson, after a puck stolen by Terry Carlson, gets the goal from Terry at 54 seconds. Anaheim wins this one in overtime, 5-4. They go to 2-1 on the season. There you go. They're above 500. Utah drops to 3-1-1. It's been a long road trip for them, and it has to be tough to play 2 days after being on the East Coast in Anaheim. So, shots, 11-10 Anaheim in the first, 10-8 Anaheim in the second. Both teams had 12 shots in the third. Anaheim had the only shot of the overtime. It's all they needed. Final shots, 34-30 for the Ducks. Power plays, Utah 1 for 2. Anaheim 0 for 5. The hits, 18-9 for the Anaheim Ducks. Ingram saved 29 out of 34. Dostal, 26 saves on 30 shots. Rough night for goaltenders. Not a lot of save percentages above 900 tonight, but it makes for entertaining hockey for us as fans watching it. So there you go. Relatively quiet night, but 4 games. Tomorrow night it'll be 11, so I'll have to make sure I get my sleep tonight to be ready for that tomorrow. That's my intention. Let me know your thoughts regarding tonight's games in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe in the event you've not done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.